Hi, my name is Greg Pogue from the IC Squared Institute. I'm coming to you live from Smithville, Texas. You can tell that I was there recently and I was feeling a little tired in the middle of the road. I would like to give you a little bit more detail about what is going on with community asset mapping so you have an understanding of what program you're really signed up to do and what your responsibilities will be. Community asset mapping is a tool to help community leaders build strategies to grow the local economy. Growing the economy numerically is one aspect, but we want to develop it so that quality of life and the quality of human experience as workers and residents is also grown. Community asset mapping aligns community assets with community values to strengthen the regional economy while understanding what are the gaps that require further investment and what are opportunities the community can engage in. The community asset mapping takes into account the community's strengths, its constraints, its challenges, so that the facts of the situation can be understood and that innovative strategies for growth can be accomplished. So we're asking you to really be involved in this asset mapping across really 4 different activities. The first is focused on secondary research. This is where you will take websites, tools, and analytics online to develop a community profile looking at key assets in your community. This will allow you to be able to develop a profile of are the strengths, what are weaknesses, and what are assets you're unclear of their value. You'll also be able to summarize what the community is in its outward presenting words and communications. We'll then like you to link this to detailed community interviews. We're providing you with a template to help you start interviews, engage with the interview, record, take notes, and summarize what you learned. Why do you need to do interviews? Well, secondary data allows you to understand a general knowledge of the community, but how that general knowledge is reflected and how the community acts and functions and believes is critical. The interviews gives you a chance to understand why people live in their community, what they do, and what they find is essential. It also allows you to verify that certain assets are indeed strengths, that people do value them and lean on them for the growth of their community. It also allows you to understand what are the weaknesses of the community and how the community itself perceives them. And finally, it allows you to clarify other assets that you weren't sure from your secondary research. The next activity will be a community survey activity, where we'll ask you to take a survey we've developed in Qualtrics and send it and collect data and do basic analysis on that to understand community values that are shared, how community assets are really distributed, how satisfied in the availability of these services and activities, and how they have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. This will allow us to find a broader set of data and to really illuminate what is happening in our secondary research and our interviews. And finally, we're going to ask you to synthesize that data, pull it together, and find trends that you're identifying. What are the key assets in the community? Where are their weaknesses? What are their strategies for economic development that they have? And what are some of the perspectives you bring to make suggestions on next steps of the community? How does your experience as a youth, of someone who's not the leader in the community, but someone who's in university, how do you perceive the strengths and weaknesses of the community? What would it take for you to participate more deeply in the community, to live and be a part of that? This will be part of how you synthesize and summarize your findings in a community presentation. One other activity that will be specific to Home to Texas students is a reflective essay. We're going to ask you to understand and reflect to your community what it is like for you to come back to that community after really leaving, graduating, and going to the University of Texas at Austin. What is your experience returning, working, and being in that community? How can it be strengthened in a way that it can be a community not just for the established residents, but for new residents as well? So this is an overview of the program. We hope that this will be helpful for you as you consider joining this program and working with your individual communities. Thank you very much.